Smartphones are rich sources of user behavior data. Our phones allow us to find how to get to different locations, track our fitness and health, interact with biometrics, socialize online, and so much more. Despite all these capabilities, one question remains a challenge. How exactly do people use their smartphones? Research on smartphone usage has been approached in many different ways, with some focusing on keyboard interactions to infer user engagement. However, this method has several limitations. For instance, although reading an article involves no typing, it is still a form of interaction. Keyboard inputs, while revealing, often lack context. A simple yes can have multiple interpretations, from agreement to sarcasm, highlighting the need for data that provides richer insights into the context of user behavior. Studying app usage is another method for understanding smartphone use, such as looking at what apps people use and how they switch between apps. But once again, a user could be on LinkedIn for a variety of reasons, such as job hunting or simply reading posts, which cannot be captured through analysis of app use. So, how do we address this? This is what we explore in our paper, a tool for capturing smartphone screen text, written by myself, Songyan Teng, and my colleagues Simon D'Alfonso and Vassilis Kostakos. To more effectively capture smartphone usage, we developed the screen text sensor built upon the Aware Light software. Aware Light is an Android application that allows for data to be easily collected from a range of smartphone sensors and stored in a MySQL database. Researchers can configure studies using the Aware Light configurator, and participants can sign up for studies through a simple user interface. The software, including our sensor, is available open source and is maintained by our research team. Our screen text sensor was developed using Android's accessibility service, which alerts our sensor to UI updates from actions such as scrolling or typing. Upon receiving a notification, we capture a hierarchical layout of all UI elements, including text content, timestamps, which app the text originates from, and element positions. To manage data efficiently and avoid capturing redundancies from screen refreshes that do not have actual text changes, we implemented a filter to ignore duplicate text entries. Text from each screen is compiled into a continuous string with segments delimited by double pipes to delineate different UI elements. The combination of text and their position allows for precise text reconstruction for any given screen. To protect participant privacy, we design all our sensors to be easily disabled and re-enabled at the participant's discretion, which gives them control over the data that they choose to share and also when they share it. Researchers can also limit data capture to only apps relevant to their study, which can enhance participant privacy and overall trust. We also implemented Android's built-in password detection method to identify instances where participants were entering or viewing passwords. Upon detection, we discard all the corresponding data on that screen, and that data is not stored. Additionally, all data transmission from the participants' phones to the researcher's database uses SSL over SHA-256 RSA encryption, which is a secure protocol for data transfer. We will further explore how participants felt about their privacy during the study in more detail. To validate the use of our sensor to capture data in the wild, we conducted a 2-week study with 21 Android phone users. They were provided with instructions to install the Aware Light application, after which they used their smartphones in their natural environment for 2 weeks, before answering a debriefing questionnaire. We primarily aimed to collect screen text data, but we also collected additional sensor data and experience sampling method or ESM questionnaire responses. Let's first take a look at screen text collection. While testing during the development of our sensor, we found that some phones were incompatible with the sensor due to hardware or accessibility restrictions. Therefore, we conducted a 3-day testing period for each participant to ensure that their phones were reliable. Although we initially had 24 participants, 2 participants were excluded due to accessibility setting issues, and 1 participant was excluded as their phone was force closing the Aware Light app. A few participants also needed to rejoin the study due to issues with their phone. In addition to screen text, we also captured data from other existing smartphone sensors, including applications, battery, Bluetooth, keyboard, location, screen stay, and Wi-Fi. We collected the sensor data to see how our screen text sensor integrates with current mobile sensing techniques. We gauged participants' perception of their activities using ESM, which captures real-time self-report data on behavior, thoughts, and feelings via brief daily surveys. Participants were asked to indicate their current location from a selection of predefined options, including home, school, and work, etc., and to summarize their activity in the last 5 minutes using only 1 sentence. These surveys were sent out 5 times a day or every 2 hours from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. throughout the study period. In our study, we defined key terms for screen text analysis. A screen is a snapshot of all text on a phone's display at any moment, such as articles or navigation links outlined in green. A phrase marked in pink is a distinct text node belonging to a single UI element. Notably, our sensor doesn't try to infer what exactly a phrase contains, it just uses the metadata provided by the operating system. Phrase difference, shown in blue, measures text changes between screens, counting unique phrases not shared by consecutive screens. For instance, repeated phrases across screens, such as the phrase beginning with Martin Clancy, aren't included in phrase difference calculations. To start off, I'll briefly summarize the amount of data we were able to collect. Over 2 weeks, our 21 participants generated over 7 million screens, made up of over 135 million phrases, which then consists of over 4.2 billion characters. The average time between screen updates was 0.87 seconds, and in total, the data alone took 12.69 gigabytes of storage within our database. It's worth noting that we captured only 32 million characters from the keyboard sensor, which is around 0.7 to 0.8% of the number of characters captured from screen text. This demonstrates the significantly richer interactions that can be captured within screen text compared to keystroke data. Exploring user behavior through screen interactions, we observe overall trends like increased smartphone use on Thursdays post 1 p.m. and generally higher usage in the latter half of the week. Focusing on participant 2, for example, we can notice trends in their individual phone usage pattern. Specifically, they do not use their device from midnight to 6 a.m. and have a tendency for usage every other hour, highlighted by the changes in color within alternating squares. We can also analyze app behavior through their screen content. Utilizing Android's unique package names, we mapped out all apps that participants used throughout the study. For each app, we used a Pearson correlation to compare its average number of phrases per screen as a measure of information density against its average phrase difference as a measure of information change. We found interesting results, such as the Samsung Safety app's low content variability and the dynamic content of StockBit and the CoinMarketCap apps. In general, the category of weather apps show less content but more variability, deviating from general trends. We also analyzed responses to our ESM questionnaire, asking participants to describe their activities 5 minutes before receiving the survey, categorizing their answers into 11 themes. We compared these activities with the screen text they viewed during the preceding 5 minutes. Notably, online searching activities showed the highest average number of phrases per screen and average phrase difference, possibly reflecting the volume and variability of web content. Interestingly, the sentiment of content viewed on the smartphone peaked during housework. In our debriefing questionnaire, we asked participants to provide feedback on how they perceived smartphone sensing using the Aware Light application, and also how they felt about data collection from each sensor. Overall, they found the app user-friendly and it made them more aware of their phone use, though privacy concerns were noted. Most participants were open to using the app if they could receive future insights on their usage patterns. Sensors like battery, Bluetooth, and Wi-Fi were deemed non-intrusive, while the text and keyboard sensors raised more discomfort due to potential sensitivity of captured data. Interestingly, though, keyboard sensing was viewed as more intrusive, possibly due to the active nature of typing. During the study, 7 participants disabled certain sensors due to privacy concerns, such as participant 8, who avoided sharing sensitive screen text. In contrast, other participants, such as participant 19, grew accustomed to the sensing over time. This highlights varied perceptions of privacy and comfort with smartphone sensing and the value that it can potentially bring. In summary, we conducted a validation study for using our screen text sensor in the wild. Through the study, we demonstrated that this approach is feasible in a real-world setting and that our screen text data can be integrated with existing sensors. We noted that although methods such as password detection are implemented to increase privacy, the sensor can be further adapted based on specific study requirements. For example, studies related to fitness may capture only screen text containing keywords associated with fitness, or research on understanding user behavior on Twitter could limit data collection to only the Twitter app. Given its open source nature, researchers can customize this sensor based on their needs. Additionally, participants were willing to participate in the study given the control they have over their data. Most participants did not disable the sensor even when they had the choice to do so, and the participants who did disable the sensor only did so for short durations. Overall, we believe there are many undiscovered applications of screen text across different domains, and this creates a wealth of opportunities for future research. Thank you very much.